Hi everyone, welcome to today's class. This is the second part of the explanation of the story, The Best Christmas Present in the World. In the first video, we discussed the first six paragraphs of the story, and we concluded the previous video with that part of Jim McPherson's letter to Connie, where he explained what the special thing happened, and he was on the process of explaining the football match between the German and the British soldiers. Okay, I think you could get better understanding about the story till that, and now we're going to discuss the rest of the story. And I request all of you to take the textbook, page number 11, paragraph number 6 means the last paragraph of that page. So Connie, the letter of Jim McPherson is continuing. You cannot imagine, dearest Connie, my feelings as I looked into the eyes of the Fritz officer who approached me, hand outstretched, extending their hands to us. That's a mark of welcome, okay, in the form of welcoming to hug, right? Outstretched, stretched out. Hans Wolf, he introduced himself to me and gripping my hand as if we were the friends met after a long time with a great warmth of love and affection, and warmly and holding it. I'm from Dusseldorf. Dusseldorf is a place in Germany, right? A small place in Germany. He introduced himself. And the Fritz officer's name is Hans Wolf, and he is from Dusseldorf, a place from Germany. And I play cello in the orchestra, okay? I play cello. Cello is a musical instrument, and it's a larger in size, like the larger size of a violin can be called a cello. Okay, so and it was my turn. It was Jim McPherson's turn. He introduced himself to Hans Wolf. I replied, "I'm Captain Jim McPherson, and and happy Christmas to you as well. I'm a school teacher. I work as a school teacher. I'm from Dorset, west of England." Right? So, orchestra. We can say the word. The first one is Hans Wolf is working in the orchestra. He's a cello player. Orchestra. Okay, orchestra. And our Jim McPherson is a school teacher in Dorset. What does that tell? It tells that the people from various professions are also brought to fight as soldiers against the enemy countries. Okay, that all happened when the World War broke out, that everybody was dragged into war, even children, right? Or even even students or anybody studying or working. Or any fields of activity, there was a compulsory regimentation, and they were all brought into or pulled into or pushed into war. So everybody had to suffer the aftermath of war or the problems of the war. So everybody was in war. So people started thinking about the meaninglessness of war. What are we going to get out of this war? We will have more killing, more destruction, more death. Nothing else we are going to get in the war. Okay, so that is what about both the officers. Now, when he's at Dorset, Hans Wolf was so happy, excited. "Oh, Dorset," he smiled. "I know this place. I know this place because I have heard about this place." Okay, so I know this place very well. We shared my rum ration. Okay, ration. What is a ration? Monthly or weekly allowances that is given to the soldiers about their food, about their drinks, etc. Okay, so a particular amount of amount of provisions are allotted to the soldiers. Okay, maybe month-wise, per month this much liquor, okay, this much other provisions, etc. That we call ration. Okay, in our country as well, we have ration card through which the government civil supplies will be distributing food grains, kerosene or sugar or oil or whatsoever, right? It's a kind of civil supply system where the people are reached out to support them through these food grains and oil, etc. Okay, ration. So ration card. So they shared the rum ration and his excellent sausage. And we talked Connie. That means they enjoyed and shared everything, food and drink, and they were just like close friends. And what doesn't affect them, okay? And we talked, Connie, how we talked, we were so close. He spoke almost perfect English, and it turned out that he had never set foot in Dorset. Set foot means land up in, okay, or arrive in, reach in, or visited. Set foot, okay. So set sail. Set sail means start a journey. Set foot means arrive, visit, or reach a place. Okay, so set foot in Dorset. He has never seen England. He had learned all he knew of England from school. That means they studied about England in their school in Germany and from reading books in English. So these all say that these people of different country have no differences between the countries. Okay, they all know each other, they all have love and affection. It is only the political setup which creates these kinds of war, or it is the need, the eagerness or the desire for power by the authority which drags people into war. All right, that is what the saddest part of it. Even today it is taking place or happening like that. So he says his favorite writer was a famous British writer, Thomas Hardy. He was born in 1940 and he lived up to 1840 and he lived up to 1928. Thomas Hardy, okay. And his favorite book was, Hans Wolf's favorite book was Thomas Hardy's Far from the Madding Crowd. Madding crowd means crazy crowd, mad crowd. He is talking about the kind of meaningless rat race and life of the people. They never think into the need of humanity, love, care, help, etc. So this is a madding crowd. They are like mad dogs, meaninglessly living. Okay, so Far from the Madding Crowd, that is a famous book of Thomas Hardy, Hans Wolf's. It's a favorite book. Okay, so Jim wanted to say that they all know us, that they like us very much and they love our writers, British writers. They read them, they speak English, and then what's the difference? What's the need of this war? I just don't understand, Connie. We are all like brothers and friends. Okay, Far from the Madding. So out there in the no man's land, we talked of Bathsheba and Gabriel Locke and Sergeant Troy. So these are the characters in the story, in the novel, Far from the Madding Crowd. They discussed it. Whenever we meet somebody, we discuss the family, friends, then the favorite books, authors, cinema, etc. Right? The songs, etc. Just like that, just like friends, they casually conversated on their favorites. Okay, so out there in no man's land, we talked about these characters, and Dorset definitely about our place. And now let me tell you about little more about Thomas Hardy. So Thomas Hardy, R.K. Narayan, you must have heard the story. So the series of story which came into serials in telefilms in the form of Malgudi Days. R.K. Narayan, Indian writer in English. He's no more, okay? So his famous book was called Malgudi Days. And he created a very imaginary place called Malgudi, somewhere in Mysore. Mysore, Karnataka is one of the places emerging in his stories, even Chennai, Tamil Nadu. Okay, so he created a Malgudi, a particular fictitious place. Just like that, the English author Thomas Hardy also set up a beautiful place, imaginary place called Wessex. Okay, now you can identify the Wessex just like we identify Malgudi in Mysore or some part of Chennai. We can identify the imaginary place created by Thomas Hardy, which is called Wessex, near south and southwest of England. Okay, south and southwest of England part together, Thomas Hardy created in his novels as Wessex. Okay, so he named the area as Wessex after the medieval Anglo-Saxon kingdom, Anglo-Saxon, English kingdom, okay, that existed in this part of the country prior to the unification of England, okay. So now let me talk about, yesterday we had a very, in the previous day we had a very good session on the works of Thomas Hardy. You all went on YouTube or Google to search out various things about Thomas Hardy. I was really happy that you have got it correctly. So again, let me revise and list out major works of Thomas Hardy. Your school library must have a lot of collection of him because he's a must-read author. So novelist, we can say. So let me tell you, if you want, you can note down. His major books are Desperate Remedies, Far from the Madding Crowd, The Hand of Ethelberta, Jude the Obscure, The Liedition, then A Mayor of Casterbridge, A Pair of Blue Eyes, The Poor Man and the Lady, The Return of the Native, Tess of D'Urberville's is beautiful story novel which came as a movie as well. The Trumpet Major, Two on a Tower, Under the Greenwood Tree, etc. There are so many numbers of novels he has written beside the poem. Okay, so let's go ahead. Then we were talking about all this. He had a wife and one son born just 6 months ago. It's a right time for the father to be with the baby, to enjoy the baby talk or enjoy the baby movement and be with his wife. And it's his first son. How beautiful it will be there to see the child growing, but he is forced to, or he is pulled into the war. That's a sad situation. Okay, and as I looked about me, there were huddles of khakis. There were bundles of so many khaki and grey everywhere. Soldiers all over no man's land, smoking, laughing, talking, drinking, eating. This is a merrymaking. This is a friendship beyond all borders, friendship beyond all differences. Okay, so and Hanwolds and I shared what was left of your wonderful Christmas cake, Connie. Christmas cake, because he left he left Connie on that time and told that he would be reaching on the next Christmas day. Okay, so he thought the marzipan was the best he had ever tasted. So he appreciated the cake that you made. I was so happy to say that it was that you made, Connie. So what is marzipan? Marzipan is a cake with an outer layer made out of egg, almond, etc. Okay, so marzipan is such a type of a cake which is made with an outer covering of almond or rich almond, then egg, etc. Okay, so it has it may be either white in color or yellowish in color. All right, so they enjoyed or relived the marzipan made by Connie. Okay, so he thought the marzipan was the best he had ever tasted. I agreed. We agreed about everything. That means we had no differences except on the war field. I don't know why we have the differences. Who made the differences? We are the same people, the same family, friends, and thinking, same feeling for everybody the same. We agree about everything, and he was my enemy. That's what the sad thing. I never can think he was my enemy, but the political condition or the power of each country, the people in power of each country make the people enemies to each other and one another. Okay, there never was a Christmas party like it, Connie. There never was a Christmas party like it in my life. It was such a wonderful thing, Connie. So I thought this was a great moment for me, so I would share it with you. Okay, so let's continue. Then someone, I don't know who, brought out a football, not football, football. Okay, great cards were dumped in piles to make a goalpost, and the next thing we knew, it was Tommy against Fritz out in the middle of no man's land. Okay, so they proposed of a football match, and they both team started playing. Okay, it was something quite interesting on the war field between the enemies. There's a friendly football match on the Christmas Eve. Okay, so they must have wished it, let every day be like this, and let there be no rivalry, no enmity, no hatred, no ill feeling between these two countries, that all of us will go back to, or all of them will go back to their own home and live with their family with love, affection, care, and unlimited joy. Okay, so they started playing football. Tommy against Fritz out in the middle of no man's land, handballs, and I looked on and cheered. We were just spectators seeing our boys playing, okay? And we cheered them, clapping our hands and stamping out on the floor or in the field out to keep out the cold as much as anything. It was December, you know, we are in the war field, how much cold, frozen cold it will be, how difficult for the soldiers. You can imagine, children, how difficult the soldiers' life is. They have to fight the cold and fight the enemy, and quite often they lose themselves. They don't have anything to eat properly. Their life is under complete duress, complete difficulties. Rather, it is high time that we realize the sacrifice of this great people, the soldiers, the paramilitary forces who all safeguard the country. So we should give them enough respect, or due respect. Okay, they are the people who are the real protectors of us, and we should look at them with more respect, and we should care them. We should be more affectionate. We should have our heart for them. Okay, that's very important. So if they don't work relentlessly day and night for the protection of the country, we cannot live such a great, happy life with our family, with our everybody, when we are enjoying our life with all of our loved ones, all the richness, all the facilities here at our own home, among the love and care. The poor soldiers are fighting wars or protecting the country in the borders in extreme climatic condition, whether it will be frozen, cold of -50, or the kind of highest temperature. Okay, without proper food, what must they be thinking? Let the war end. Let there be a world where nobody fights, and all the world will be full of love, and there is no need of war, and there is no need of a soldier, and all the soldiers can go back and live with their family, with their children, to take care of the children, love and care, take care of the parents, etc. Okay, so that is an amazing, idealistic thing that we all love to have. We never want our soldiers to fight complete life against somebody else, or losing their own life, or leaving their children, their family, etc. When a soldier is fighting in the borders, or protecting our country, working elsewhere, it is not the soldier alone suffering. Dear children, what we have to understand is the soldier's family, children like you. Father will be fighting somewhere in the borders or protecting the country somewhere. The children are missing the parents. The wife is missing the husband. The mother is missing the son. The father is missing the son. A sister is missing a brother. So it's something we can't just imagine. And normally we take it for granted. We don't try to understand their sorrows and pains. So what I tell you, dear children, it is high time that we realize the importance of each person in our life. Be a person apparently insignificant, but try to understand the importance of that person in our life. Because of him that we are living life like this. Because of everybody together, our life is so beautiful. Okay, so it is high time that we gave the dues of each one in the form of respect, love, care, concern, compassion, etc. Okay, so then he says a very beautiful thing. There was a moment when I noticed our breath. I was breathing out that exhaled breath and his breath mingling in the air together. That, when we are in winter time outside, when we breathe out, the cloud of our breath goes out and it mixes. All right? That means we both had the same feeling. Even our breath was the same. Our pulse, heartbeat is the same. Our desire is the same. Our feeling is the same. Our love is the same. So why we need the war? Okay, so he saw it too and smiled. Jing McPherson, he said after a while, I think this is how we should resolve this war. Resolve means solve it, find a solution. Resolve, resolution, okay? Take a resolution. So I think this is the way we have to solve the war. What is the way? A football match. See, in a football match, two enemy countries play, but nobody dies. There is no problem. So a football match, no one dies in a football match, No children are orphaned. Like in a war, so many soldiers die and their children become orphaned, fatherless, parentless. No wives become widows. So such a beautiful thing, right? If we have an enmity towards another country, let us have a play, let us have a football, let us have any other game, okay? And let us sort it out if we want to win over somebody, not by power, but by these kinds of friendly matches. Okay, this kinds of fellow feeling. What a great thing that the writer has put forth for us to think here. Now we think about our Olympics, why Olympics started, and all the other national, international competitions, and say the football match or world football, how the world football connects nations together, people together, culture together. How does it bring in sportsman spirit? How does it bring love and care? How does it change the vision of each person to a kind of world vision of universal brotherhood, universal love, concern for each other, etc. So sports is a very big weapon, we can say, or a device, or we can say an idea with which we can solve all our ill feeling. All right, once we play, we forget about all the ill feelings. So sports has that great power of uniting people and nations together. Okay, so that is one of the main themes in the story. Are you getting me? Hope you are enjoying. And if I ask you a question, do you think that football can solve the problems of the world today? Or how far is sports and games helpful for eliminating the barriers between or among countries? Okay? Or how can sports and games bring people and nations together? I think you must have got it right now. So shall we proceed further? So then, British like to play cricket more. So they said, I would prefer cricket. I told him, if we play cricket, definitely, then we Tommies, we Brits will be sure of winning. Probably we laughed at that. It's a light-hearted moment for them together, and we watched the game. Sad to say, Connie, Fritz won. 2-1, 2-1 they won. But as Hans Wolf generously said, see the character of Hans Wolf, he doesn't take this as a great victory of a game or anything like that. It was just a fun being together, feeling together. And he generously said, our goal was wider than theirs, so it was not quite fair. Okay, so the time he diluted the great victory associated with the Germans. Okay, it's nothing, man. It's just a game and we enjoyed it. That's all. Okay, the time came at last. All too soon, I felt how fast the time flew. I felt because we were in love and affection. We were together. We felt a very strange but exotic feeling of togetherness in the war field. When the game was finished, the schnapps, also the rum and the sausage had long since run out. Run out means exhausted, finished, run out, ran out. My provisions ran out. I have to go to the market today because my cupboards do not have anything, and my provisions have almost run out of stock. Okay, means completely used up. All right, so then this was what they were talking about. Then let's see what happened. Hold on one moment. That way they were enjoying the play, and both the captains enjoyed being together with the soldiers, and they forgot all their differences. They shared their drinks, sausage, the cake, and everything without any sense of enmity. The time came, and all too soon, when the game was finished, the schnapps and the rum and the sausage had long since run out, used up, finished, and we knew it was all over. I wished Hans well and told him, I wished Hans well. He's calling him by first name, Hans. That shows how endeared they are. They have become so close. They have no bitterness, no enmity. All right? So, then and told him I hoped we would be back home soon. Okay, we would reach our family soon, and that fighting would end, the war would end, and we would all go home. That was a great desire of all the soldier. Any soldier, when he goes to the war field, his desire is, let it end up very soon and let us go back home. Okay, that is what really they wanted all time in their life. Okay, so let us move further. Hope you got the things properly. Then the story continues, and Connie's letter is the letter by Jim to Connie continues. I think that is what every soldier wants on both the sides. What's that? The ill feeling, the war should end so fast so that all the soldiers can go back and live their normal life with their family. Hanwolf said, "Take care, Jim McPherson. I shall never forget this moment, nor you." So we had a very, very strangely beautiful moment, and I'll never forget this moment, and I cannot forget you as well. Okay. He saluted and walked away from me slowly, unwillingly. That means they wanted to be friendly forever. They don't want the war, so unwillingly, I felt. He turned to wave just once, and then became one of the hundreds of grey-coated men, disappeared, and he became one of the hundreds of grey-coated men drifting back towards their trenches. Drift means carry away or get carried away slowly in a wind or a air or water. Okay, so they moved away, and from distance we could see the marching of the army moving away from their side. Okay, so that night, back in our dugouts, we heard them sing carol, and singing it quite beautifully. Okay, Christmas carol. Carol. It's not carol. It's carol. Okay, what's a carol? Carol is a religious folk song or a popular hymn, particularly one associated with Christmas. Okay, so Christmas carol. So Christmas song or hymn, or otherwise you can call them psalm, P-S-A-L-M, okay, or canticle or Noel. We can call in so many other names as well. Okay, so we heard them singing the carol song beautifully. It was Till Nat's song, Silent Night, Holy Night, that song. Okay, our boys gave them a rousing chorus in the same rising up tone, rousing or energizing, rousing emotions, rousing feelings. Okay, thrilling chorus, such a kind of energizing chorus with this song, while shepherds watched. It's all associated with Christmas. Okay, so we exchanged carols for a while, and then we all fell silent. We had our time of peace and goodwill. Goodwill, feeling of goodness. Will is good. Will, our mind, our heart, our conscience, our feeling. Okay, willpower, will. the feeling of the mind, okay, the decisions of the mind, goodwill, a good feeling between people, okay. So goodwill is a term associated with company. When a company is very much branded, noted for its quality, we can say the company has a great goodwill among the people, okay. So people like it, believe it, a kind of trust, a kind of belief, okay. So my peace and goodwill, time, and I will treasure as long as I live, Connie. So that is what he told to his wife. Okay. Now, dearest Connie, by Christmas time next year, this war will be nothing but a distant and terrible memory. Distant and terrible memory means we don't want war at all, and it will be a thing of the long past and it will never return. That means I will never go again for war and there won't be any situation. So it will become a very old, distant, far dream, okay, for us. Means everything will be okay by the time next year, Christmas time. I know from all that happened today, I know from all that happened today how much both armies long for peace, so everything will be getting settled. But the fact is, the sad thing, the ironic thing is, it is not the armies which desire the war. It is the people in power, the man in power, the political condition which makes the war. So poor soldiers think that it is they, if they love not to have the war and they are friendly, the war doesn't happen. It is not. It is quite often political or based on the people's desire for power or territory, land or domination or something like that, right? So this coronavirus season must have made everybody realize that even our most dangerous weapons and bombs cannot withstand coronavirus, or cannot overtake the struggle during the coronavirus, cannot save our life. All the medicines in the world could not save life. We should be at least human to each other. We should be good to each other. We should love and care each other. That is more important, right? So that is what the learning we have to get from our catastrophes or problems, difficulties in our life. Whenever there are problems, we realize some good lessons. Whenever we suffer, we realize some good lessons for life. Okay, so what is expectations of Jim here? He would be reaching back home and meeting Connie. Okay, I'm sure about it, Connie, and you was loving Jim. So Jim closes the letter here, and we are going to close our class also, to wind up our class also today and go through it. If you have any doubt, you please ask me. Go through the text up to here. Today what we have discussed, note down the difficult words and meaning as I discussed. See you in the next video. By then, goodbye.